Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we are discussing a Roger Dubuis Excalibur Chronograph made in stainless steel in 280 pieces as a limited edition. This watch was originally sold in 2011. It is a large piece, 45 millimeters in diameter in steel. It is 15.4 millimeters thickened from lug tip to lug tip, 55.7 millimeters across the wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. You're going to see that you need a large forearm for this watch. I would suggest a wrist of at least 17 centimeters, even though it does fit. And you can see down the barrel that the lug isn't quite overlapping the edge of my wrist. It is pushing right out to the edge, and because of the rigidity of this strap, it wants to fight, it wants to flare, it wants to arc out even broader than my wrist. And you can see with the triple lug junction used to secure these large, heavy, and expensive watches, it is all the more prominent at the outer reaches of my forearm. So again, for aesthetics, for security, you're going to want a wrist of at least 17 centimeters circumference, and you can see how thick it is from this cuff shot. Taking a look at the strap, the triple lug setup used by Roger Dubuis back during the 2000s and 2010s, a very distinctive design that grew out of that era in response to two questions. One, how do we make the watch distinctive? And one, how do we make the watch secure? So with three lugs, you have a more imposing look, but you also have a better purchase on the strap. The strap is fully integrated. You can see it curves to match the arc of the case, and then it arcs to match the tumble home of the lugs. It is a thick piece of leather, large rectangular scale alligator leather, gloss finish black, monotone stitch, bolstering to give it thickness, and then a folded edge. It looks like a shear cut edge, but it actually wraps around in a sort of square joint with calfskin on the bottom, and you can see a distinctive Roger Dubuis factory strap in brand new condition. We have a deployant clasp here, single fold, a combination of polish and of satin with twin trigger release. You can see internally the repeating RD motif as well as satination, and on the opposite side some polish. The twin triggers have a little sort of knurling that makes them easier to grip. And then inside of the clasp body, you have three little divots drilled so you can change the anchoring point of the strap inside the clasp to fine-tune the fit. You can see the little ridged sawtooth profile that echoes the design of the Excalibur bezel. The watch is not subtle. As you can see, this is basically like an Hublot that went to finishing school, because it does have a gorgeous manufactured Geneva hallmark movement that we'll see in a moment, but it definitely captures the spirit that Hublot hopes to corral and harness. And maybe this does it a little bit better than something like a Big Bang or a King Power, because this watch is full of symbolism. You have those explosive modernist takes on Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4, a dished dial with several outboard flanges and applique indices, twin sunken registers for constant seconds and chronograph minutes, and note the uncommon use of a 45-minute register, ideal for football fans. You'll appreciate that this watch is full of unconventional ideas. It does feature a semi-instantaneous jump minutes counter, and then a combination of white and black and yellow accents with a gloriously yellow varnished chronograph seconds hand. The crown guard is something of a simulacrum. As you can see, it is a canteen-style cover above a rubber-coated inner crown that's actually used to wind and set the watch. The watch is 50 meters water-resistant. We have a highly stylized set of crown guards and shear guards for the crown and chronograph pushers. The chrono pushers are a combination of polish and satin. They're satinated on their outer face, but with nice rounded bevels along their side. The case is rather simple. We have lugs that are slightly stepped out from the case band. We have longitudinal satin finish, and then polished lug hoods with a little bit of a teardrop undertuck to the lugs themselves. The watch does have a wonderfully crisp column wheel feel, and we'll talk a bit more about that movement. Caliber RD78 came out in 2006, and it may be the most beautiful chronograph movement Roger Dubuis has ever employed. Now, previously, they used the Lamagna that would have been found on watches as varied as the pre-moon Speedmasters and the Patek 5070. That old Lemania 2310 was a workhorse and gorgeous, but I'm not sure it's quite as beautiful as this layered RD78 micro rotor, because this is an automatic movement. Now, the later micro rotor 680 family was perhaps thinner and easier to mass produce, but it lacked the beauty and the detail refinement of the 78. That's why I think the 78 is the one to have. So here we have the micro rotor automatic winding 78 with an ultra dense platinum rotor for max winding efficiency. It has a 42-hour power reserve, a combination of a column wheel, which is capped and black polished, with a lateral clutch. We have a full balance bridge to better brace the balance. All of this pivots on 36 joules and beats away at 4 hertz. It has that full balance bridge with an elaborate double devil's tail fine adjustment mechanism. And yes, if you look carefully underneath some of the levers and horns of the chronograph, there's a little Geneva hallmark on the base of the RD78, and it is adjusted in 5 positions. It is a very accomplished movement. Wear it every day, and it is set it and forget it reliable with that 42-hour power reserve, but you're probably going to want to observe it and pay more attention to it than a conventional automatic winder, because this manages to be simultaneously as beautiful as the old Lemania while giving you the automatic winding convenience of the later 680. Do my best to show you this watch in greater detail, but what I really want to call out is the beauty of the bevels, which are a mile wide. It's a little bit difficult to show with this strap that loops around, but we have a combination of Côte de Genève satination, engine turning, black polish, a blued screw capping the column wheel. That's the only blued screw on the watch, and then you can see the remainder of the screws are black polished with chamfered slots in circumference, and there's satination across the top of all of the steel chronograph components. It is very, very special. The column wheel feel is world-class, and the lateral clutch is classically beautiful. So while the watch is a little bit, well, shall we say, visually loud, it's an interesting contradiction, as it includes the most traditionally beautiful Geneva hallmark level movement finishing, and then possibly the boldest and brashest possible chronograph design externally. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Oh, fun note, Dubuis makes every part of this watch, right down to the hairspring, balance, and the escapement. That is what in-house means.